Now we'll get ready for a deep, low lunge with the back knee down. So place a blanket on your sticky mat as you see here, and that will be the padding for the knee that will drop down. And then stand at the front of your sticky mat with a block on either side of each foot. Stand tall in mountain pose. Stand tall in mountain pose with energized legs. And then bring your hands down to the blocks and step your left foot back. Gather the outer right hip back and in. Lift the back thigh up. Lengthen the spine from bottom to top. Long trunk here, long abdomen. And let your hips sink down to be the height of the front knee. And then let your hips sink even further down as you reach the left thigh further back, and then place the left knee down on the blanket, and then untuck your back toes. So the front of the shin and the front of the foot and the back leg is resting down on the blanket and the sticky mat, and sink your hips forward and down. So the whole sacrum is relaxing and releasing forwards, and then lift your low belly so that you lift your trunk up and out of the pelvis. Bending deeply in the front knee, pull the outer right hip back. Pull the right femur back towards the hip socket. Pull the outer right hip back and also towards the midline. Gather your hips towards each other. Lift the low belly. Kick the back shin into the sticky mat. And then tuck your back toes under, lift your back thigh, and step your back foot forward. And now step your right foot back, first coming into a simple lunge. Gather the left femur back towards the hip socket. Lift the back thigh. Let your hips come down to be the same height as the front knee. Gather your hips together and lengthen your spine. And then walk your right leg even further back. Extend that right thigh further back. Sink your hips down and then lower the back knee down onto the blanket. And rest the top of your back foot down onto the sticky mat. Kick the right shin down into the ground as you take your hips forward, letting the whole sacrum move forward. The tailbone moves into the body, and then lift your low belly and gather your outer left hip from the outer knee to the hip socket. So the outer left hip gathers back and in towards the midline. Squeeze your outer hips together, lift the deep low belly again, and lengthen through the anterior spine, kicking the right shin down. Bending deeply in the front knee. Smooth breathing here. And then tuck your back toes and lift your back thigh. And step your back foot forward. Bend your knees, relax and release your head down. And then take your hands to hips and stretch your chest forward to come on up. And now lay down on your back and have a block nearby for a core breath exercise with a block between the knees. So set up yourself in a supine neutral position with knees bent and feet flat, and then place the block between the knees and squeeze it. Arms resting by your sides. And let your pelvis rest in neutral here. Long spine. Relax your body and breathe here. A gentle squeeze of the block. And then inhale and lengthen your spine. And then exhale and start to scoop the belly, contracting the deep, low belly back towards the front surface of the spine, and a gentle tuck of the pelvis as the expression of your contraction deepens, and then squeeze the block as well. Finish the exhalation here. And then inhale your spine long. Bring the pelvis back to neutral, relax the belly, all on the inhalation. And then exhale, and again find a deep contraction so the back of the abdomen pulls towards the spine. A gentle tuck and squeeze the block with your inner knees. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Neutral pelvis, relaxed abdomen. And exhale, a deep contraction of the back of the low belly. So the outer layers of the abdomen are soft. It's really the deep, deep psoas and transverse abdominis that are working. As you continue, and stay present with the same pattern here. Exhaling to scoop and squeeze the block. Inhaling to lengthen and neutralize. And so we're integrating the core engagement with the waking up of the adductors, the inner thigh muscles, creating some connection there, some muscular activity that's connected. Continue with a very internal focus. See how much you can refine the scoop, refining how you're engaging the deep low abdomen, how you're contracting and pulling the deep low abdomen, the psoas muscles, back towards the spine, towards the back body, and how you can release that contraction as you inhale and create length, profound length in the abdomen. Emphasizing the squeeze of the block as you exhale, especially at the second part of the exhalation. And do one more complete round. And then when you're finished, you can remove the block from your knees. Now we'll practice Supta Padangustasana 2. So have a blanket and a strap with you. Lay down on your back, knees bent and feet flat, neutral pelvis. And stretch your arms up overhead along the floor and lengthen out your trunk as you breathe. And then make sure that your folded blanket is to your right. And lasso the right heel with your strap. Stretch your right leg up to the ceiling and then stretch your left leg long. And just start to extend fully the backs of the knees if you can. And now bring the blanket close to the outer right hip and hold on to the strap with your right hand only. Spread the left arm to the left and start to open up your right leg out to the right. So the blanket is supporting you underneath the outer right thigh. Keep the left leg extending And think of the low belly spreading to the left to balance out the right leg going to the right. Long in the abdomen. And start to notice the way that that right thigh is rotating in the hip socket. If you rotate it in slightly, you might get a very different stretch in your inner thigh. If you keep your leg at around the height of the hip, it will be different than if you pull the right leg up towards the armpit. So breathe here as you explore stretching different parts of the inner thigh. Stay grounded in that left thigh. And then inhale and come up to center. And we'll switch sides. So place your blanket on the other side, so it's to the left of you. And lasso the left heel with the strap. Extend the left leg up first, and then extend the right leg. Internally rotating in that right leg. Outer left hip pulling away from the left waist. Backs of the knees opening. Long in the spine, shoulder blades sliding down the back. And then pull the blanket towards the outer left hip, very close, and grab onto the strap close to your foot with your left hand only. Spread the right arm to the right, spread the low belly to the right as the leg opens out to the left. And experiment here with rotating the leg so that you can turn in slightly. A little bit of internal rotation in the hip socket or a little bit of external rotation in the hip socket will give you a different stretch. It might stretch different parts of the inner thigh. Grounded in that right thigh, even in the waist. Right and left waists are long, long abdomen. And then bring the left leg all the way up to center. And release, bending the knees, feet flat. Now we'll practice Supta Virasana. So lay your blanket down on the sticky mat as you see here, and have a bolster and a folded blanket nearby. And then place the bolster vertically on your sticky mat near the blanket as you see, and place the folded blanket on top of the bolster, and that will be a pillow for your head. And then turn around so you're on hands and knees with the bolster behind you. Take the top of your head to the floor and take your fingertips to the upper calves and pull those calves out to the sides and elongate them also down towards the feet. So turn those calves out to the sides and lengthen them down so that you can then sit your thigh bones down right between the feet. And then you'll start to lay out onto the bolster. Make sure the bolster's not underneath your lumbar. So it should be free under your lumbar. And as you lay back, elongate the back ribs away from the buttocks and pull your buttocks towards the backs of your knees. So the lower back becomes very long and tractioned as you set yourself up here, laying back into Supta Virasana. And then adjust the position of the blanket so that the folded blanket supports your neck and head, and stretch your arms out to the sides. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back a little bit, and then release the arms and hands, palms facing up. And let the thigh bones settle, let the pubic bone descend, let the groins be soft, let the knees be grounded. And breathe into the full length of your trunk here. Feel the dimension of your trunk, its length, its width, and its depth. And as you breathe, relax and release internally. Continue to focus internally as you rest here. Stay very present as you breathe. The upper buttocks is reaching towards the bottom buttocks. And then use your hands to help you on up to sit. Come to hands and knees. And extend one leg back to open the back of that knee just for a moment. And then extend the other leg back to open the back of that knee.